What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to show you the video that we created, used a drone and all that. Wanted to get some great angles so that we can teach a little better. So let's get started. Mike is right here and he's going to serve left-handed. Brian has a good return, pretty deep, if you can tell right there. Not the deepest, but Mike's able to get a pretty good wallop on there. But Nick can handle it. He went straight middle. Look at me. I'm like leaning all the way out there to grab this, and I pop it up. Now we got lucky because Nick could have slammed the heck out of that, but he just mishit it. So what we're doing here is Mike serving, as you can tell. I'm behind the camera, kind of out of view. It's called stacking, and what that commonly does is the left-handed person is going to play on the right side of the court. The right-handed person is going to play on the left hand. The idea is that in the middle, both your forehands are available. So it can cause problems because, if somebody's overzealous, but in most cases, it's a pretty easy put away. We can kind of go over what to do against a left-handed player in a different video, but right now I'm just going to show you what's going on here. So Nick has a good return, pretty deep, not the deepest. I'm at the baseline, as you can tell right here, and I've got a pretty good opportunity to put a drive in. I put the drive dead center. Brian has a good backhand, but doesn't quite, it's not hard enough and it's not dinked. So Mike's able to take that out of the air. That's a classic left-handed play. Notice how he came to the net, was just ready for that ball to be popped up. Brian popped it up and Mike just slams it to Nick's backhand, ungettable. Mike's serving again. Brian's return. This is a great return. Look at this. So this one pushed me back. The last one I was up baseline. I'm a good 3, even 5 feet back. I mean, look at my foot back here off of the thing. And I'm able to put just enough drop on it. That's actually a great third shot drop if I do say so myself. Brian handles it, puts it back on Mike, and he puts it at the perfect spot. Notice, look, he hits it right as he's coming up, right at his feet. Mike has a good return though, and then Nick and I just get in a backhand battle. When I'm up here dinking, most of the time I'm going to go cross court. There's times where, of course, you can go down the line, but for the most part, what I'm trying to do, I'm not trying to get a super crazy angle. What I want is consistency. My idea is that the more I dink, the more chance that somebody else is going to mess up. Now, as I'm doing that, that's why I don't worry too much about the angle. But what I do worry about is getting it over the net. 3 to 4 or 5 inches over the net is going to be your best bet. That one, you can tell I took out of the air. I actually have pretty long arms. Some people, that's a risky play, but Nick had a great shot right there. I would have had to have jumped to the left and take it. Instead, I took it out of the air, and I hit it more towards the middle, which makes him change to his forehand. He has another good dink, and then I hit middle again because I wasn't worried about angle. But what it did is threw him off a little bit because he's like, oh, maybe I should just try this, and then he hits it into the net. That's just a classic dink battle right there. I said, yeah, he wanted to hit it hard. If he had hit it hard middle with a left-handed and a right-handed person there, it would have been slammed. All right, so here's Mike serving again. Nick hits it shallow. Look at this. This is not a great return. And Mike has a perfect angle, perfect opportunity to just slam one. It's exactly what he does down the middle. Now, it's a great shot, and sometimes that happens. But what could have happened is either Nick could have crashed hard middle, because he knows if it's a middle shot right here, he knows Mike is not going to hit the line, right? So he could have crashed hard middle and taken the forehand, which I think is what Brian was expecting. The other thing that could have done, and this is just playing with a partner and getting to know this partner and understanding, what they're going to do. The other thing is Brian could have taken a step this way and hit it right here, and Mike would have, he would have at least had a chance to knock it back. So one of those two things needs to happen. As the big thing is angles. If the drive was shallow here, the problem then is Brian has to cover this, the line, and then Nick needs to watch cross court. So as a drive, the best option for me is I'm going to slam it middle, or I can slam cross court, or I can slam down the line. So right now in the middle, there's just not as much opportunity to do that. So pretty much it's going to go back middle. That's a good serve by Mike. This one was a pretty good return. About halfway. And Mike has a good third shot drop on it. Brian hits it at his feet again. Look, makes him pop it up. Just perfect execution by Brian. And then Nick has a great backhand middle. I have no choice but to just pop it up, and he just takes it and slams it. All right, so that one Nick served. Notice Mike hit it pretty good return. I'd say anytime you can hit it past middle of the court, you want to do it. If you start drilling, or you start really thinking about hitting your shots within about 2 to 3 feet of the baseline, you're going to make people back up, and it's going to change the game entirely. So Brian has a good drop. It's a little bit high, and I'm actually pretty good at taking the ball off of a bounce. It's not a normal thing, but I have enough topspin on it that I took it and was able to just put one on Nick's backhand, and it gave him some trouble. So it wasn't a bad execution by Brian. It was just a little bit high, and I was able to put some muscle into it, or strong arm it. All right, so I'm serving. Pretty good return. Again, it was middle. So now Mike has his forehand. He goes right at Nick, and Nick pops it up. He doesn't drop it, and he doesn't hit it back at the guy who was hitting it. So obviously I was running forward and covering the ground there. I'm able to take this out of the air and put a little wallop on it. Mike serves. The pretty low return. Pretty shallow return, not the greatest return. Mike's got a great angle on it, but he decides to pop it up. I don't know. I call it the third shot lob. And once you hit a certain level, you just can't lob it. It's done. All right. So this one, pretty good return by Nick. Again, to Mike's backhand. Nick's able to cover, come up to the court. He came right up to the kitchen line, covered. They're both up here on offense. We're on defense back here, trying to make our way up. Mike hits a good drop, and then Nick hits an actual. That's a really great drop right there, because I was coming middle. I should have crashed. Knowing Mike is left-handed, I should have crashed, right here. I should have been crashing the line. Could have covered that angle much better. So I messed that up. Pretty good return by Mike. Pretty deep. Nick's got a good shot at it. Nick's got a great drive. I stuck my paddle up. What can happen here with the left-handed and right-handed players is, look at this. Like, both of us, it's our strong hand. I'm leaning pretty far to the right. Mike might have a better shot on that, but I was able to get one past. And then Nick has a great drop here. That's a third shot drop, even though that's not a third shot. It's a third shot drop. And I'm able to just grab it and put it back middle. So what I'm doing there is keeping them back, right? The idea is to keep them on defense. So keep them back. He has another, that was a great drop. And I messed up, but notice Brian was coming. He was going to take, he might have even ran up the kitchen line here and slammed it, but I messed it up there. All right, so Brian's serving. Mike returns it middle, and again, he didn't hit it hard, but it was deep. And so what that does is just gives that extra couple of feet to return the drive back. It was a good drive, but Mike was ready. Brian hits a great third shot right there. I keep calling it a third shot. He hit a drop shot. I put an angle on it. Brian grabs it and crashes. He crashes middle here, which is actually the right thing to do, but Mike just had a great shot. I just got lucky on this one, but Nick has a good pickup. We go into a dink battle. That's actually a great dink by Nick. What Nick did was he dinked it to Mike's backhand. So if you're playing a left-handed person, remember down the line is their backhand. So that's a good dink. Mike picks it up, and then Mike hits it to Nick's backhand. So it's backhand to backhand right here. He throws Nick off just enough right here that he's leaning. It's hard to get a good shot on it. So Nick, instead of going cross court, goes back down the line. Now on this shot, Mike is trying to set up an Ernie by going back to him. Nick reads it and hits a perfect, just a perfect cross court shot. Now watch this one play out. Nick saw him moving back, and actually, this should not have been our point. Nick sees him moving back, but watch Mike's foot right here. It's in the kitchen. We're going to play it out. Another one in the kitchen. Even though that foot could be lifted and is lifted, he didn't reset himself back out of the kitchen. So that's technically their point. That's not our point. We ended up taking that point. I didn't even think about it till now. That's a great return by Nick. Look at that. Deep. Puts me back on my toes. I mean, on my heels. I hit a pretty good drive at Brian. That's called handcuffing, hitting it directly at the person. Brian hits a good return though. Mike just goes up there and slams it. This is just a good shot by Mike. That return right there. Okay. If you learn anything from this video, do not return a serve like this. Middle of the court. Just, I can wallop. Anybody with a decent shot can put a wallop on that. And then what that does is puts you immediately on defense. So Nick had to react. Even though he had enough time to react, he put it on Mike's backhand, which is the right thing to do, but Mike was ready and puts it right down the middle. Just a good deep serve. Mike tries to lob it. That's a pretty cool view, but it was out for sure. Again, I don't know why he lobs it. It's sometimes fun to do. It's a tough shot to pull off. Really tough shot to pull off. But it does throw them on quite the defense. So it's if you can get it, it's a good shot, but not common. This one, third shot drop in there, and Nick just hits it out. If this is something you guys like, let me know. I really want to start analyzing video for people, and even like taking video for you guys, come and play with you and go through the video. I'd love to do that. But But for now, I'm just going to keep doing it on my videos so that you guys can understand and see it live. I feel like there's a lot of teachings that don't go over live video, which I think this is very beneficial. Let me know what you guys think.